everyone. Welcome to today's segment right here on the Product and Packaging Powerhouse. I am your host, Megan Young Gamble. Of course, if you've been rocking with us, you should know who I am by this point. But if it's your first time, welcome to the house. I have the honor and privilege to have two for one powerhouses joining me for today. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I have Roxann Sinclair, also Amanda Martynuik, who is with each shipper. And guys, we're going to be getting into discussions around omni-channel logistics and some misconceptions with importing into Canada. And they're going to share it right here on the Product and Packaging Powerhouse. So make sure you follow, like, subscribe, and share this with your network because this is a conversation you do not want to miss. And so, ladies, welcome to the show.
You so much for having us.
Yes, yes, excited to have you ladies. And so to kick us off, share a little bit about yourself. Roxanne, I'll have you go first, and then Amanda, share a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background and what you do at each shipper. And then Amanda will turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you for having me again. And again, Roxanne here. I am a business development manager with eShipper. Before I joined the world of logistics, I was in finance and quickly learned that I am not a behind the desk person. I'm more of a people person, and I needed to be in everything and figuring out with the customer as well as the client. And therefore, I said, let's try something in event management, jump into that for a bit, dabbled in destination wedding planning, and eventually find myself when in sales. And that's where I fit in. That's where I'm at. 2 years ago, I joined eShipper. Didn't know much about logistics. It has now become my life. I have even enrolled myself in the supply chain and management program at our university here of Toronto. So I am just doing the whole logistics thing. eShipper has helped me form a better understanding of how the world actually runs, and the world does run on logistics. So I am happy to be here. I'm looking forward to getting into some chats with you here, and I'm going on over to Amanda.
And me, I've been in the world of logistics a little bit longer. It's been about 10 years. Prior to that, and thank you to my very two expensive pieces of paper that I don't use, both of my university degrees. I used to be a former teacher, so I was a former history and math teacher and fell into this world, like I said, about a decade ago and never looked back. I absolutely love it. I am probably one of the biggest logistics nerds that most people know. Mind you, you're coming up, you're creeping up on me as she's gonna take over the crown. But over the ten years that I've been with the company, we have developed eShipper, which is under the parent company Canada Worldwide Services. We have another group of companies. The long and the short is we handle everything in supply chain from A to Z. So we can do everything from doing the import from China, from the manufacturer, all the way to the container D stuff, warehousing and fulfillment, the digital marketing agency side of things, and the final mile delivery for D2C as well as B2B. So we kind of do a little bit of everything here. It's a very exciting time to be in this industry. There's lots of changes that are happening, lots of players that are moving into the arena, lots of players leaving the arena. So it's ever changing. It's very exciting.
I love it. And guys, let me just hit on their background really quickly because this is overarching with what I talk about on every episode. So Roxanne comes from finance, so she understands the money. Okay. And so with her now being a business development manager, she's going to make sure you understand the dollars and cents because she has that background understanding. And the fact that you came from event management, love that. I wish I knew you 10 years ago when I planned my wedding, okay? Because I would be like, girl, help me out, okay? But with that, it's a lot of transferable skills into what you do. And project management is really the foundational aspect from finance to event management to being a business development manager. So, guys, I always say project management is Bay. Everybody knows I'm a project manager certified. It is everything that I do. And it's a baseline in what we all do in our respective worlds. And then with Amanda, she was a teacher, guys. And now, like, kudos to you because we need more teachers. But baby, that patience as a teacher, I commend you. But the fact that you had that background and transferred over into logistics is really being able to really articulate and really educate people of the operations and the impacts of logistics. So, guys, every person that I've had the opportunity and the privilege to interview on the podcast has not always studied packaging or always studied supply chain. a lot of us are coming from other backgrounds, but we're using our transferable skills and our education to be in this beautiful world of logistics, supply chain, operations, packaging, and the opportunity to be in front of each other. So I just had to highlight that because it's a misconception that you must study in these worlds, which that can always come later when you transition into the space. So
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Definitely went from managing a classroom of 30 kids to managing a sales team of 60 across North America. So I don't know, depending on the day, I sometimes think that was harder. Sometimes I think this is harder, but it depends on the day.
listen, it's like I'll be honest, I'd rather deal with the adults. I love babies. I have fun with them. I'm like the best auntie and the best person to go in the classroom and read the book and have fun with them. But afterwards, to see you back on
Child.
yeah, yeah, like see you back home with love. You come back, we can have fun, but then you go back. So
Yeah.
kudos to you. I love that. And so, ladies, with your time at Ecom Shipper, I know you're based in Canada. You have a lot of impact, influence here in North America. Share a little bit about eShipper as a company and some of the benefits and differentiators of using your company.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, our parent company, Canada Worldwide, is been around since '99, so it's been 25 years. eShipper specifically has been around since 2005, and it was the first of its kind in Canada. It's essentially your Expedia of shipping. So in the same way that you would go to Expedia, enter in, destination of where you're going and the dates, with eShipper, you would enter the destination of where your package is going, dimensions and weights, and you have now a rate shopper. So we have relationships with all of the major courier companies, the likes of UPS, DHL in Canada, Purelator, Canpar, things like that. But something that is really unique about us is that we are that one-stop shop. So not only can we handle, your domestic or even your cross-border moves within North America, but we can handle everything in your supply chain. So, and we kind of make this joke sometimes is, now you have one person to pat on the back or one neck to strangle, depending on how things are going. But it's really very, very integrated with our group of companies. But something else that sets us apart is the relationships that we have formed with the likes of Air Canada, for example, where we've built out something very unique in Canada, which is an air zone skipping infrastructure. So this is now allowing businesses to compete with the likes of Amazon, give their customers that prime delivery without paying the fees that are associated with listing yourself as a prime seller. So for us, really supporting Canadian and North American businesses and maximizing their profitability, allowing them to offer that same customer experience of, hey, my package is here within 2 days. So that's really, I think, our core competency and what sets us apart from a lot of the other players.
Oh, wait, guys, if you have not subscribed or gone to eShipper's website just based upon what Amanda shared, I need you to do that now because you mentioned how eShipper is like Expedia for packaging. I love that. So that's a great way to simulate like what eShipper is and how to have like a marketplace of knowing who the right carriers are, how to get it to them. Everybody loves a good Amazon Prime. I'm waiting on some of my packages to come at this current moment from Amazon Prime. So having that benefit of getting something in 2 days through your relationships with Air Canada is huge. And everybody's looking at speed to market, speed to market. We want our things right now and sometimes yesterday. So the fact that you all have created those strategic partnerships is gold. And a lot of times we on the opposite end may not know what that entails and even how to have the conversations with getting engaged with eShipper. And so, Roxanne, for with you being a business development manager, like what type of brands would you get engaged with and see and really offer and stress the benefit of using eShipper? Would it be some of the startup brands, emerging brands, or some that may already be in the market and looking to scale?
I'd say it's a bit of all three in,
Okay.
in a nutshell. And the reason I say all three is because the startup brand is looking to the scale, and at the same point, they're looking for a process. They're looking for a solution that allows their customer to continue that journey. Most of the clients that I work with or the brands that I work with are very social media savvy, and they want that experience for their customers straight from the click of their product online. straight through the delivery up on their doorstep and how the unboxing of it and all of that goes. So they want that journey and experience throughout the whole process. And that's what differentiates each shipper from a lot of the other companies out there. We allow the brands that we work with to show the customer this experience by implementing integrations that work with their brands and the marketplaces that they features and so forth. So we allow for this and a small transition, streamline everything under one roof and provide them that comfort of saying, hey, I can shop on here because I know that if I place an order today, I am going to get it in 2 days because I have the ability to go in and track it right to my doorstep and point of contact.
And I think too, Roxanne and I work very closely together, so sometimes we do finish each other's sentences. But I was just thinking about what you had said to a brand the other day. We had a client meeting, and Roxanne was talking to the brand about how we see ourselves as an extension of that brand.
Yeah.
We don't see ourselves just as a vendor or a traditional supplier. We really want to see that brand succeed. At the end of the day, when a brand succeeds, it's a win-win
Yeah.
because one, we love seeing that. But two, at the end of the day, we're all in business for money and we're all in business to, keep the economy going. And when a brand does well, that results in more shipping, right? So it is truly a win-win. And like I said, there's definitely a lot of that around here, I think, is that mentality of that win-win.
It is. It mirrors exactly how why they come to us. Sometimes don't have to go to them. They come to us because they're hearing the experience and they're seeing it online and they're noticing the difference that a shipper brings to the table or sometimes the collaboration that we offer that they didn't know they need.
think that's huge. And so, because a lot of the brands I work with are various scale. And a lot of them are like, well, we would love to partner with you. And I'm like, I would love to partner with you too. I don't call any of my brands clients. I call them my partners because it's a strategic partnership. And it seems like that's what you all do as well as being an extension of the brand's companies. Because we all have our own complementary and focuses. So I focus on packaging, project management. You all focus on supply chain operations and thinking about the orders coming through. And we're all an extension of the brand. And so I love that you preface it as such because a lot of times we work with other companies or see other companies and you're just a statistic. You're just another number. And there's no relationship there. No, what is it in it for you as the business? What are your sales strategies? What is the future state of the brand in the next 1, 3, 5 years? What does that look like? As your brand grows, can we grow with you? So sustainability comes into question. And so there's a lot of things that has to be considered. And I love that you're extensions of the brands. So that's definitely valuable. So, Roxanne, you mentioned one thing about social media and seeing the experience and the interaction brands see and that ultimate experience. And you talk about this on LinkedIn with some of your posts too, like with omni-channel approaches and marketing strategies, incorporating logistics into it. Share with us a little bit about your philosophy of the intersection of omni-channel marketing strategies and logistics.
It's funny. I was reading up on a brand that I was wanting to work with, and they one of the questions that they came at me with, and I didn't really know how to approach it moving forward was how well do we the operational part of it when it comes to the different marketplaces and the different marketing that they do with the different social medias. How are we integratable with those guys, and what's the experience for their customer, and how would we go about facilitating that for their customers so it's still unique to their brand and a part an experience for their customer? And that was something that stunned me because I was never really thinking about that before. And then I went back. I said, let me go back and speak with my team, and I will come back with you with a solution. And so I went back and we had some conversations. And one of the things that I learned is that I had to go onto the platforms. I had to experience the way Instagram molds the images that they use for these brands and how TikTok stories mind boggles you to go ahead and go on their websites and see how the logistics of it. When you go to their end process to check out, what's that experience for the customer? What are they using to make the customer want to purchase? And one of the things that one of this particular brand does very well is the way they showcase their self on the likes of Instagram, Shop, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook. The imagery that they use and the languages that they speak is very different than a B2B market business that are just booking businesses for other businesses. It's the way you click on one image and it's interacting with you, like say, so I think this is your body type and this is what this means for you, and here's what this person is saying about this, and it takes you through this whole storytelling from the Instagram images to the Pinterest pin board, and they make you want that, and they from transition from that, it's all like images of the how you get to your checkout and the logistics part of it, and when you get to the end of the logistics, 2 days later, that consumer is coming back to that page and they're doing the unboxing and they're plugging that brand's name, and that's where they're at. And that's how they wanted to see how each shipper would be able to mirror that and translate that. And we've incorporated that now for so many of the clients that I've worked with. So there's imagery and just storytelling
Yeah.
and being able to make sure that everything is streamlined and integratable on the platform. So there's no point for them to say, this is taking too long. Because as we know, 57% of consumers are shopping online and they're on their mobile, whether it's their mobile phone or they're going back to their website on their PCs, or they're going to the brick and mortar store itself. But 59% of consumers are shopping online. For
Yep.
the step of that being on their mobile phones. So we have to think about those guys and how we want to keep them focused on the brand and
Yeah.
base.
And I think by optimizing every type of marketplace and every type of social media, the audience is going to be different.
Yeah.
So the content that you curate needs to
Match.
be specific to that audience who's
Yeah.
consuming that content,
To match it.
and it has to compel them, right? And the way that you portray yourself on one platform may be completely different from the way you portray yourself.
And also the way the platforms allow you to play with it as well. For example, Pinterest now allows you to do a sizing chart when you go on.
Oh, really?
So you go on Pinterest and you're going through when they said, oh, I think you like these, Roxanne, and you'll go in and you're clicking in it and they're like, oh, the last time you were here you were looking at these size models, I think this one will work best for you. And so a lot of people are now saying, oh, I don't even have to go into the stores, and if I do have to go into the store, I know exactly what my size is when I go into a store to buy these brands. So these brands are always elevating themselves. They're always thinking of ways to incorporate it. And then, like I said, the likes of Pinterest is trending with this new feature. And then when you speak of social media sites like Instagram and TikTok, TikTok is such a storyteller.
Yeah.
You know, the what the guy the makeup features, those guys that come on and there says basic makeup tutorials and so forth. I mean, after the tutorial, you want to go buy the product from that site. So
Oh, look.
uh, it's the use, when I say update channel, I'm talking the use of TikTok, I'm talking the use of the influencers, I'm talking the use of everybody that's featured in here. And that one feature is bringing you right back to that store or in the shopping malls and so forth, and translate onto your checkout point. And those stores are what that keeps those customers coming back. It keeps their retention, keeps your customers happy. And that's what most of these brands are looking for. So omnichannel marketing is the way to go. If you're not
Yeah.
doing it, you need to step up your game. And if you need to speak to somebody about it, we're here.
I'm about to say you hear the pros right here on the product and packaging powerhouse with Roxanne and Amanda because they gonna get you all the way together. So Roxanne is like a omni-channel logistic powerhouse. And then you have Amanda who's the logistics powerhouse too. So they gonna make sure you're covered from A to Z. But with everything that you mentioned, omni-channel is something that every brand is leveraging right. So from Pinterest boards to Instagram to Facebook to the ads to Facebook is now Meta. We old school, so it's still Facebook to us.
Yeah.
But LinkedIn, Snapchat, TikTok, and other platforms. So we have a myriad of various platforms and we have a very short attention span as well, where you have only 30, like 7 seconds to make that impact with the customer. And so, what I really love you mention is you kind of look at it from the perspective of a consumer. looking at every touch point across these various modalities to make sure that you're thinking about what is it in it for me as a consumer and what is that experience and how you all with each shipper are able to offer various solutions. So that way the brands are able to know that you are that one-stop shop. You are that fully, you have the full operations to think about the curated, hey man, to think about the curated content on those respective platforms, to understanding the audience, to understanding what is your sales strategy, what is the growth strategy. So all of those things, guys, definitely go hand in hand. The logistics is really the intersection of all, because in order to get your products to from the packaging vendor to the contract manufacturer, logistics is required to get packaging to and from. To then have your finished good be created at the manufacturer, you're ready to ship those finished goods. They're going to be palletized on a pallet because y'all know I have Pallet Pros company, which is our pallet distribution company. That is part of logistics. Getting it to the fulfillment center, that's logistics and coordination. When you pick and pack it and then have to ship it back out to the final destination, that's all logistics. So, guys, it is a full strategy. And then replenishment order. What does that look like? So, I really appreciate that you all think about every touch point from the lens of a consumer to make sure that you're able to offer those right solutions and tailored solutions as well, leveraging each shipper's technology platform, which I really love. So, I want to ask you, based upon your experience of going through and having the various touch points as your from a consumer lens, what piece of advice would you give the listeners? I would love this from both of you all's perspective. What piece of advice would you give the listeners of the type of experience you should really think about when incorporating logistics, Instagram versus TikTok versus Facebook versus Pinterest versus LinkedIn? Because we have a lot of heavy hitters on LinkedIn too that are really not leveraging these tactics like they should be. So I would love to hear from you all. Amanda, we'll have you start first to see what's your perspective.
So I think when it comes to online businesses, especially that entire customer journey and that customer experience is very important as we kind of shift into this, post-pandemic era, where definitely parts of Canada are being hit hard in terms of the economy, inflation, interest rates, as well as just the cost of goods is increasing. That cost to acquire a customer is now that ratio between the average order value or even the lifetime value of that customer and that cost to get that customer in, the ratio is shifting. So you really need to maximize that initial cost and investment of bringing them into your ecosystem as traffic, ensuring that they do convert in one way or another, whether that's clicking on an ad, a meta ad, whether that is finding out about you on TikTok shop, bringing them into your actual website, and then getting them to actually check out. But it doesn't stop there because that delivery experience is really what can make or break that customer, their final impression of you as a business. And often it's the logistics that can either make a customer very happy or write a terrible review.
Mm.
And as a business, your ideal scenario, and again, it's commodity dependent, is to bring either that customer back or to turn that customer into a champion and get them to bring new business to you. So if you give them that great delivery experience, if you get their package out the door, if you turn around their fulfillment within 24 hours, if you're getting it to their door within 2 days, if you're using a carrier that's going to send text message notifications and provide a picture POD, which we're all used to now with Amazon in Canada. That is kind of it's not even a nice to have anymore. It's like where's must have. Yes, it's a must have, right? So that entire process until your customer gets your product into their hands, it's not even about the product yet. It's about their
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
Now, whether you have a great product or not, that's that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But giving them that experience, as long as you have a great product, you're going to get them to keep coming back. And that's the ideal kind of, that's exactly where you want them to be. Regardless of how they came in, that's where you want them to end up.
Absolutely. I think that's a valid point because products and I tell people products is what keeps people in your pipeline, but the delivery experience is what is going to help validate them to become a retaining customer because of that experience. So did I get it in 2 days or even in one day? Did I receive a picture of it? Did I get notifications because I want to know when my stuff is coming. I'll be honest.
Mhm.
I'm looking at Amazon like, bruh, where's my notification? I need it now. So those little small details makes a huge impact. And I think that's where, as you're talking about e-shipper and we're talking about strategies and leveraging it on omni-channel approaches, that's where the value is. And being able to articulate that and understand we're paying a higher cost per transaction and the ratio with it behind it too, versus if you're using Meta ads or LinkedIn ads or Google ads, everything is going up. And especially in Canada, y'all rates have always been much higher than in North America. So we just put it out there being honest, but I think those are valuable points, Amanda. So appreciate you sharing. And so, Roxanne, same question for you. Based upon like different platforms, what piece of advice would you give our listeners to really leverage incorporating omni-channel approaches and strategies and logistics and how to be thinking about it intentionally for the platforms too?
The one thing that I've noticed, and I am seeing a lot of that now, especially when it comes to the like platforms like TikTok, mainly TikTok, is your customer wants to a understanding of how the logistics part of it works and how when and how that product is being delivered to them. And one example I'll give you is the other day I was on TikTok with my nephew. He's 5, and he said, "Auntie, I want to show you this video." And I'm like, "Okay, great, another piglet or whatever it is." And he's like, look, my friend, he just got his package. And look what he did. He opened it right there, and she was showing me that what they did with this particular product that was coming in from this toy company that he got is that they allowed him to track it. But while he was tracking it, it was featuring other products of that particular brand and other products that these kids might like. And he's like, and then he was like, I want this one, I want this one, I want this one. And when he did get it, he opened it on there and it was a big surprise for him. So the excitement and the stuff for that was even exceptional for the brand,
Yeah.
but the kid was so ecstatic. Now my nephew is like, I want to purchase from this brand. I want this. I want to get this toy. Are now opening themselves to the avenue. Even I don't know if they're consciously doing it or they're unconsciously doing it, but they're making you want to be sticky and they're giving you more experience. They're highlighting more avenues that they think you want to see. I would love to see when I buy something online from the likes of maybe 10 Fake or Zara, when I'm transitioning through my tracking, they're highlighting images of different products that they think I might like based on what I buy. And this toy company hit that nail like right there. By just having
Yeah.
those kids see other products pop up when they're tracking their shipments and allowing them to have a pop-up video to unbox it and share it.
Yeah.
So it was just that is something that I think they need to create more of and share. And I think eShipper is going in that direction where they're allowing you to add these in these little pictures or tidbits to your tracking, and so you can see where in the process it's at and when you get it, how you can go about opening it and make that experience even more invitable and make recommendations
Yeah.
and so forth. So
And I think that's essentially true omnichannel, right? You're bringing your customer into your own branded landing page where you're having your tracking. You're now utilizing that real estate to promote other products. You're then, suggesting or encouraging the unboxing. And I remember a number of years ago, that was one of the things that really kind of allowed a lot of big brands to find kind of comfort in our warehousing because we are not an Amazon. We see ourselves as boutique warehousing. So if that means you want the tissue paper folded a certain way and a sticker and confetti and a handwritten note, we do that. Amazon's not going to, right? So that's truly how you can now really navigate through that customer journey and ensure right up until they open that box, your brand and for you guys, the packaging is really top of mind and then get them to come back in and buy again.
Absolutely. And guys, I think that's so profound because even like my nieces and nephews and other kids I see, like they are so advanced with technology now. And like your nephew, 5 years old, knowing how to navigate TikTok. Hey, I can learn some lessons from the kids because I barely know how to even swipe the page to
It's like
check.
the day you start using TikTok is the day I get off TikTok.
Exactly. So like we're the old heads on TikTok. But anyways, but like having the younger generation really leverage technology to have that experience to know, hey, I have this kit. I now want this kit, the complimentary accessory that goes with it. And these kids are making money on unboxing videos on YouTube
Yeah.
because they're waiting for their products to come in and they're able to track it. So I think that's something profound and lessons we all can incorporate in our pursuits too, because it's part of like OmniChannel with packaging. We're heavily utilizing QR codes on there to navigate them and immerse them in the tutorials and the different websites and how to use it and product information and even behind the scenes of what the logistics look like. So if you have sustainability initiatives, we're highlighting about carbon emissions, what sustainability initiatives are, things of that sort. So it's part of that storytelling and like you said, Amanda, immersing them into the brand with us being extensions of the brand as their partners too. So I love that. So as we talked about logistics, I know that there's some misconceptions of having products be imported into Canada versus North America. And I'm ready to hear this because I think I'm going to have some like really profound to really understand like some things I need to reconsider for my own brand I work with, which is importing goods into North America versus importing goods into Canada. So, Amanda, I would love to hear you debunk this misconception, first off, as to why we should consider importing into Canada and what some of the bills and different regulations like Section 321 looks like and the benefits around.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in regards to the misconceptions, it's not like they're not founded in certain facts and truths. At the end of the day, the US is 10 times the population of Canada. So it is a much bigger market. So the misconception is if I'm going to open up a brand in North America or if I'm going to expand a global brand into North America, you would think it makes sense to do it from the US. You're more centrally located. So if you do have a full North American, Canada, US, and Mexico strategy, you're thinking, hey, biggest population, it's centrally located. So let's do our fulfillment here. Let's import into America. Now, the thing that has kind of changed the landscape even more so over the last couple of years is some of the tariffs that were imposed in 2018.
Yes.
So they were specific tariffs that were imposed on Chinese goods. So Section 301 is the tariffs that were imposed by Trump when he was in office on Chinese goods. And so brands had to start to re-strategize their North American supply chain because something that they were previously importing into the US, let's say at a 10%, was now all of a sudden 25%. And sometimes 15% can make or break your margin.
Yep.
So we've consulted brands to actually shift their fulfillment into Canada, which means you're importing directly into Canada. So when it comes to products from China, which as we know is typically the biggest exporter of
Manufacturing goods.
manufactured goods, CPG, things like that, Canada not only do you benefit from the tariff, let's say, still being at 10%, but by bringing those goods into Canada and then paying that 10%, you now can take advantage of Section 321. And for those of your listeners that are with us that don't know what Section 321 is, basically what it is, it's an informal clearance based on the US de minimis of $800. So what a de minimis is how much an individual can bring into the country on any given day without having to pay those additional duties and taxes. So $800 is one of the highest in the world. And over 95% of e-com orders are under that threshold. So if you're now importing it to Canada, one added benefit of only 10%, but for every order that you export to the US that's under $800, not only does the receiver not have to pay the duties, you actually can apply to get the original 10% back in your pocket.
Well, wait, girl, say that one more time for the people in the back, okay? Because everybody is looking at how to get more money to their bottom line, right? And especially for like startup and emerging brands, that 10%, even 10%, 15% can make or break a brand in transparency. So the fact that there are incentives, with having goods be imported into Canada, exporting into North America, And also that $800 value that you mentioned, that is gold, especially for a lot of D2C and e-commerce brands, because a lot of their transactions may be averaging about $100. Some may be upwards of 250, depending upon the type of brands and the price point. But most of them are under $800 in transparency. So the fact that you possibly will be able to get some of that money back, that is money that you're able to reallocate back into your business, to your operational plan, to your logistics plan, to marketing strategy with more ads. It's huge. And so when you consult brands about section 301 respectfully and then 321 with these benefits, like what does that conversation look like? So if I, as a North American brand, come to eShipper, Roxanne, Amanda, here's what I'm creating. Here's the challenge. I need a fulfillment company. I want somebody to offer boutique services. I need to be able to see how to recoup some of my money back. How do you have that conversation to recommend, like, hey, these are things we need to think about, and here are the solutions we offer with eShip?
Yeah. So I think when it comes to, I think what we both do, when it comes to consumer goods, when it comes to anything, there's two things that are really not optional, and there's two things that nobody really loves paying for. Nobody likes to pay for shipping; they have to. Nobody necessarily likes to pay for packaging, but they have to.
That's it.
Now, the level of packaging and the level of shipping, that can absolutely vary. But I think what's great about both the shipping component, the packaging component, and even the customs component is when you could save a customer 10% on their shipping, and then you can get them another 10% back on their customs. That is net profit. That is money they didn't have yesterday, and that is money that they were spending yesterday when they didn't have to. So, other added benefit of this duty drawback program is if there's listeners right now that are like, I cannot believe this. Why didn't I make this change a couple of years ago? Why didn't I know this information? You can go back a number of years. So that is probably my favorite thing to tell customers when they're sitting in front of us is, hey, listen, not only moving forward can we facilitate this for you, but for businesses that we've worked with in Canada that didn't even know about this, they now can go back 4 years and get that money back.
And that's why it's key to keep records of your invoices or your data. So this becomes paramount. And if you're not keeping track, or if you're not keeping data, if you're not keeping records, then this going back 4 years is not going to look
Not
good
feasible.
for you.
Yep.
But so in that, we also educate our customers on this moving forward. And that's one of the things that we are now highlighting in every conversations that we have with brands that are in fact doing this. Like the logistics of it is great, but if you're not keeping records of this and you're not keeping the proper record, then getting that drawback, yep, not feasible.
Look, guys, I tell my brands all the time, where is the data? We want to see where's the data, where's the documentation. Roxanne, you come from finance. You like, I don't care all about the fluff. I need to know what's the dollars and cents. If I don't see the dollars and cents, it does not make sense, right? So, guys, say the same thing to see the documents. Like, we need to know where we're going based upon where you've been. Okay. It's just like
Absolutely.
with map. You can't I can't say I'm going down 75 to 285. That's our crazy freeways here in Atlanta. I don't know where my starting point is and where I'm going to. You know, you don't know. So guys, you have to have those records. And as a project manager, even with Roxanne's background in finance and event management, you need to understand all the documents, keep it in one centralized location. With technology now, we are blessed to have cloud storage everywhere and readily available at your fingertips. So if you don't have time to scan it in, take a picture. You have scan apps on Apple. My mom told me about one. So I was like, thank you, mom. Put me on
Yeah.
to scanning the PDF on my phone through an app. So guys, like there's opportunities and money that you can be getting back. So like when Roxanne talked about omni-channel marketing strategies, and having that curated content on these respective platforms, this money can be going to that omni-channel marketing strategy. This could be going to updating your packaging. This could be going to increasing the dollar amount for your transactions, adding other little bonus or fillers into the experience when they pick and pack your product to ship to the consumers for that ultimate experience. Like guys, this goes hand in hand. Like makes so much sense. And I'm like, why nobody ever tell me about this? So I be looking at eShipper myself to offer those solutions to our brands because you're educating me. And that's really the point of this podcast is to educate and inform like what things we may or may not know about. But we're doing better because we're having these intentional conversations. So I love this. And so, thinking about like the trends and how 57% of consumers are shopping online, we're also seeing more brands and consumers go back from from e-commerce shopping back into retail shopping, in-person shopping. So, from you all's perspective, what other trends have you all started to see, and what are some of the predictions like within the logistics space with this impact?
So I think Canada and the US are a little bit different. From a logistics perspective, in the US, you now have Amazon taking over FedEx volumes. So they've now surpassed FedEx. We're not seeing that in Canada. Amazon logistics is not what it is in the US. And I think that's actually a good thing for merchants because I think it's now giving them a little bit of power back to say, I don't necessarily need to have my full catalog on Amazon. I will put two of my hero products, my two most popular, highest margin products, because as we both know very well, a lot of brands lose money on Amazon or their margins are razor thin, but they see it as a necessary evil. So I think what we're seeing is kind of a shift into owning more of your own catalog on your own Shopify, WooCommerce, whatever website that you have, and having less on Amazon. Now, the only way you can do that effectively and sustainably is if you're offering some of the benefits that Amazon has, like the 2-day shipping, like the picture POD, like that experience of the customer knowing exactly when they're going to get their order. So, yes, we're seeing that shift in Canada and I'm loving it so far. I'm very excited to see what's to come in the next 6 months, but I would say that's probably the biggest thing in Canada right now that we're seeing.
Okay. Now, Roxanne, what about you? What do you think?
If I would have to, I would say something along the lines of what Amanda highlighted, but also that a lot of the brands here now are shifting their focus from only marketing on maybe one platform or sticking to, they're highlighting themselves more on various different platforms, and they're making that journey for the customer more attractive. And if they can't find a product that they're looking for online, because it's so attractive, they're now redirecting them back to their store in person. So a lot of that is happening here in Canada. I'm not, again, not familiar how that's translated in the US, but in Canada we see a lot more foot traffic going back to the stores, as well as you go into the stores now and they'll say, oh, we don't have this in house, but it's online and you can pick up from the store. So a lot of the brands are rethinking how they're doing it, and because the logistics of it is so easy for them now, the experience is a lot more highlighted.
Yeah.
It's very, very straightforward, and from a customer point of view,
Uh,
I'm loving it.
and I think you just triggered something with me here, really integrating that online and in-store experience. There is a pretty big push. Again, we'll speak specifically about Canada, but being able to order a product online and take it to a mall to return. So maybe I want the convenience of trying on the clothes in my own home as opposed to in a changing room where your attendant's knocking and, hey, do you get another size? Right. So you're able to have that kind of in-house experience of trying those clothes on. But now I don't want to have to, package this up and where was my original box? And, I'm going to send this back, but not this. So having that kind of ease of returns of being able to go into a mall and having these stations set up where you can simply go with your clothes, not even packaged, and say,
Yeah.
here's my receipt, and being able to receive your return, like your refund, almost immediately as
Yeah.
opposed to you having to now pay as a consumer for your postage back to them. Then they have to inspect it. Then you've got to wait for your credit. So I think we're seeing that the businesses take advantage of the fact that people now do want to go into malls, but they're really integrating that into their online experience, which is what you said, but in reverse, right?
Yeah,
You go in, you don't have it, but now it can go online, right? So I think they're doing it. I think they're doing both ways.
Yeah, and we're definitely seeing that here in North America too. So, okay, I have to put this on myself. I love shoes, okay? And order a lot of lip gloss. That's my one staple beauty product, lip gloss. So when I go and order something from Sephora online, it comes home, but I may not like the shade. So like the Ruby Woo shade that Roxanne has on, it's a beautiful shade. It looks fabulous on your skin complexion. Me, it looks fabulous still, but I like a deeper red. So I go back to the store, take it back. Hey, I need to exchange it for something, different color. So it may be the Stunner Red that's with Fenty Beauty exclusively. And they like, okay, no problem. So with that point, you're seeing, regardless if it's North America or Canada, you're seeing how brands are in the online shopping experience is being integrated with the in-store experience to offer that readily offered solution. So if I order something online, I don't like it at home, I can conveniently take it back to the store. And I think it's intentional too, because then I'm gonna go play around in Sephora. Sephora is the beauty playground to go and find something else. And I'm like, I just came in here for one thing and I'm leaving out with five other things.
Love it.
Is that same thing for me too, or Tarjay as we call it here in North America? I go in for shampoo and I come out with hundreds of dollars of things. I'm not going to even put the dollar amount because it's crazy.
Insane.
Anyways, it's part of that experience, to offer that. But we are seeing more brands and more consumers go back in store because everybody's ready to be back outside. And here in North America, some of our fitting rooms are still closed because of COVID. So that's an impact too. So a lot of consumers are like, well, since I can't try it on in store because I would like to, I'm now having to order it offline, go home. And sometimes that's an inconvenience because I may be in the store and I want to try it on there, but the fitting rooms are closed. So it's pros and cons to both of them, but I think we are seeing a shift with this whole experience and the integration part of it as well to keep us as the consumers engaged from each touch point, like Roxanne mentioned earlier in our conversation. So I love this. So as we're wrapping up our time, I'm going to end with one final question for both of you all. So with this, last question is, how do brands measure the effectiveness of their logistics driven social strategy? Roxanne, we'll start with you.
Uh, I think it's the brands and what I'm seeing and from the conversations that I'm having is that they are not realizing that marketing their products to everybody is not the solution. Marketing your brand to your potential client is the solution. And I've seen that change. And when you are speaking to these brands and they're highlighting what the product that they're pushing or why they're pushing it, you have the customers is experiencing that, oh, this is mine. This product is speaking to me. And the way that they're doing that and they're going about it now is different than they were 2 or 3 years ago when it was just targeted for everybody. And you're like, well, this doesn't fit me, or I don't fit into this bracket, or I don't fit in that bracket. Now you're saying, okay, so they've opened up their portfolio and they're speaking my language. When I go on there, it's an experience for me only, and they're marketing it personalization for me. And so
Yeah.
that that's one of the trends that are highlighted and some of the top brands. I remember, like for example, I know I'm a Formula One nutcase, and Lewis Hamilton he had partnered with Tommy Hilfiger, and one of the things that he did when he partnered with Tommy Hilfiger is that he targeted individuals that looked like him with particular brand portfolio that he was coming out with, Tommy, and it when it hit the market. It did New York Fashion Week and you couldn't find it online. So I mean, they are understand the market a lot more and they're targeting their individual clientele with personalization of their products. And so going forward, and that's one of the things that I'm noticing with brands out there.
Absolutely. Make sure you're not talking to everybody. Make sure you're talking to that core audience. I love that. And that's
Mm.
something, and like that's getting back to the basics of understanding your client avatar, your customers, the sales strategy that impacts the logistics, the unboxing experience. What is the cost per transaction, the cost ratio to target them online? You have to know that because that's the basic to then impact and drive the effectiveness for logistics and the social strategy behind it. So I love that perspective. So, Amanda, same question for you. How do brands measure the effectiveness of their logistics driven social strategy?
So at the end of the day, data, 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 right? So you're always going to be where you're always going to want to track where your traffic is coming in. So on what did they click? from what social media platform did that kind of traffic come in from, and then take a look. Traffic is fantastic, but if you're not converting that traffic into an actual shopping cart checkout, you haven't converted that sale. You don't have revenue in your pocket, right? So traffic is not going to make a business money. And a lot of the times it often comes down to that customer checkout experience of what am I paying for shipping? Is it very obvious when I enter into a store's ecosystem? Do they have a banner at the top of the screen to let me know that if it's $50 or 75 or $100, is it free shipping? But what we're also seeing is a really good measure of a good logistics strategy is how can we increase that average order value? So if we put a promotion that allows you to upgrade your shipping to express shipping when you hit this cart value, how does that look? And I think doing a lot of that A/B testing and understanding how your logistics are now affecting your cart conversion is really going to be the measure as to how effective is my supply chain strategy.
Oh, wait, I love that. And guys, listen, I will opt to pay more money to get free shipping because at the end of the day, I don't like paying I don't like paying for shipping. Simple as that.
Yes.
Nobody does, right? Like when I go on Sephora as a beauty insider, they like, yes, you must have a transaction of at least $50, 50 US dollars. So that may be 75 Canadian dollars. I don't know conversion, but just
Probably 100. Our dollar's weak right now.
well, wait, it is here too, but that's a whole nother topic. But with that, I will go and be like, okay, I'm going just to buy that Fenty Beauty Stunner Shade, beautiful red. But they may say I'm gonna get free shipping with $50. Okay, well, you know what? I do need that new golden glow that she just came out with. Let me go ahead and add the bronzer. Let me go ahead and get Glossy Bomb too, just so I can meet the dollar value
Yes.
of getting free shipping. So to that point, listen, Sephora, Ulta, Target, Macy's, DSW, other countless brands, they get me on that dollar value as a consumer because I want the free shipping. But when I receive it, I'm also looking at how quickly do I receive my product so I can instantly use it. Do I have an event? Do I have a podcast? I want to try a new shade or whatever. So as both of you all mentioned, it's all very strategic and really getting back to the basics. Understanding your audience, how do you have that curated content that resonates with them? Understanding the sales strategy to then look at how to possibly import goods into Canada to get those bounce backs based upon $800 value transaction, export your products to North America. So this, guys, is a whole sales and logistics strategy that you're hearing right here from Roxanne and Amanda on the Product and Packaging Powerhouse. So, ladies, thank you so much for sharing and bringing these insights to our audience as well, because this is valuable. And we're going to have the conversation offline of what this incentive looks like to offer to my brand that I work with. So, as we are wrapping up our time today on the Product and Packaging Powerhouse, guys, we always end with the power round. So, this is 90 seconds ask facts about each of our guests. So, both of them are going to be in the hot seat for 90 seconds. And so, we're going to start with Amanda, putting her on the spot for 90 seconds, asking her about some of her favorites and fun facts. So, I'm going to put 90 seconds on the clock. Amanda, you ready?
Ready.
Sis, you got it. Let's go. Okay, so in 7 seconds, excuse me, I hear that you're a Harry Potter fan. So in 7 seconds, name as many Harry Potter movies as you can.
Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire. Well, what am I thinking? I'm the biggest Harry Potter fan ever, and I am blanking. All right, next.
Okay, next one. Okay, so who said this infamous quote? You're a wizard, Harry.
Hagrid.
Yes, I love him. Okay, as a Lego enthusiast, what is the tallest or the largest Lego well,
Not that I built that, like, is out there in the world.
that's out there in the world?
Okay, so it was built by Land Rover. It was almost 6 million pieces, and it was the Tower Bridge.
Yep, that's it. Okay, I've researched that based upon your fun fact. Okay, so 30 seconds. Given your background as a history and math teacher, if you could go back in time and witness any historical event, what would it be?
There's so many, and I'm gonna say the Salem witch trials. I think it was such an interesting period, and nobody really truly knows what went down, and I think it would just be a very, very cool thing to go back and witness because there's a lot of other historical events that I'm interested in, but they're gory and stuff like that. So yeah, to witness, that would be it.
Okay, fair enough. And I'm gonna ask you this last question because we're at time. What is the intersection of product, packaging, and logistics?
It's essentially how you are going to present your product, keep your product safe, and ensure that when your customer opens your product, it again is an extension of your brand.
Herb Amanda, come on, you came through with the lightning speed though. Let's go. Sure, yeah. Let's go. Hey, Miss Roxanne, you up next, lady. So you ready? We're gonna put 90 seconds on the clock for you.
Let's go.
Let's go. Okay. So I hear that you are a Formula One fan. So who are your top team?
Mercedes, McLaren, Ferrari.
Okay. Oh, love Ferrari. Okay. So if you were a Formula One driver, which car would you want to zoom around the track and why?
I know what I should be saying, but because my boy's going to Ferrari, it's going to be Ferrari.
Okay. Okay. And why? Why Ferrari?
Well, so I am a big Formula One nutcase, but I am a huge Lewis Hamilton fan, and he just signed on to go to Ferrari. So if I were to drive a car right now, it would have to be the Ferrari because that's where he's gonna be.
Okay. Nice. I loved it. Okay. 35 seconds. As an avid traveler, what have been your top three experiences?
So that would be experiencing Formula One in Germany and getting to do the Autobahn, power gliding in Portugal,
Oh, we.
and having conquered the art of flying out of a plane in Jamaica. We've won
Badass. Love it.
times and we've never completed.
Oh, we talk about badass energy. Okay. I'm with it. The only thing I've done is go around the Porsche track here in Atlanta. Okay. So
That's a good one.
last question, Porsche track. So we have a Atlanta Porsche or is Porsche, excuse me. The Atlanta Porsche track here, and we get to ride with the drivers. I'm just in the passenger seat. I'm not driving, but it was enough thrill seat for me. It was phenomenal. That's probably as good as one gets to Formula One, to be honest. Okay. And then last question for you. What is the intersection of product, packaging, and logistics from your perspective?
I think it has to go. It goes back to the making sure that that experience is there for the customer. So when logistics meets package, it has to translate for us, not only for the brand but for the consumer as well.
I love it. And ladies, y'all knocked it out the park. Power round. I love it. So kudos to you. No. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in to today's segment right here on the Product and Packaging Powerhouse, where I had the honor to have two for one speakers on today's episode, Ms. Roxann Sinclair as well as Amanda Martynuik. So ladies, let everybody know how they can learn more about eShipper and get engaged with you all.
Absolutely. I think the best thing to do is just to connect with us on LinkedIn. We'd be happy to speak to anybody, whether it is regarding shipping, the customs component of things, or just kind of their overall approach to North America and how they might want to re strategize. I would say LinkedIn is probably the best. You can definitely check out our website online. It's eshipper.com. We have links to all of our other sister companies there as well. But yeah, looking forward to connecting on LinkedIn.
Awesome. And Roxanne, what about you? I'm sorry.
And the best way to again is like I was connecting with us on LinkedIn. Love to get an understanding of what their approach is into North America and how we can facilitate that for them. So any questions can facilitate there. You can also check us our website at eshipper.com, like for the total package here. And having any one of us consult or even share feedbacks and stuff that you might not know and want to know. And
And
it's priceless.
And Megan, just as a thank you to you and as a thank you for your listeners, if you reach out to either Roxanne or myself, we will include a 30-minute consultation free of charge, which includes a complimentary follow-up freight audit. So we will include that for your listeners and hopefully we can, really help them to expand their business and go North America wide.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank y'all so much for that offer. I wasn't even expecting that. That's why I'm like, oh my gosh, like you want a car, you want a car, you want a car. Well, you get a complimentary audit. But that is phenomenal. So thank you both for extending that offer. And guys, if you are listening, you heard a lot of key gems. And each topic that we talked about could be its own individual section in episode. But we only had so much time to hit on it. So that's why Amanda and Roxanne with Eve Shipper will get you all the way together because they are that one-stop solution for all of your respective supply chain needs. And also, the biggest thing I want y'all to think about is consider importing into Canada. See how you could possibly qualify for those return incentives to your brand so you can reinvest that back into your business. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe. And as I share, our network is based upon our network. So make sure you do share this with at least 5 people in your network. So that way you can get this complimentary audit offered by Amanda and Roxanne with eShipper. So, guys, thank you so much. And I'll talk to you on the next episode.